What's up, guys? It's Friday, and so you know what time it is. It's time for What the Fitness. Let's get them. But first, you know the drill. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Oh, the algorithm. So this got submitted from an account called Tan365 Studio. I don't think that's who the person is that's making the claim, but this is a gal talking about intermittent fasting and women. So let's see what she has to say.
Views on intermittent fasting.
So intermittent fasting is very good for men, not good for women. It is everywhere you will have plenty of research saying everyone should try intermittent fasting, but for women it's not a good thing because it really spikes your cortisol levels. And when your cortisol spikes, all the other hormones that we have, LH, FSH, progesterone, they all take a hit, and then you wind up with hormonal imbalances. So while
the hormonal imbalance
might give
thing,
you the best results, you might lose weight, it is only temporary until those hormonal imbalances happen for you to not see results anymore. So my advice is not to do intermittent fasting. What you should do in the morning is
don't intermittent fast.
Speaking to all women here,
start your morning with a source of fat.
Ghee, whatever source of fat, nut butter, anything, but start with the source of fat. This immediately balances all the hormones, and your hormones are
the fat balances your hormones. Okay.
The intermittent fasting not necessarily would have an effect on your skin, because if it's spiking your cortisol, you will wind up with issues on the skin, like
cortisol causes acne now? I'm not a dermatologist, but I have never heard of that. So intermittent fasting is good for men, bad for women. And she says you'll find lots of studies showing that you should be doing intermittent fasting. No, what you'll find is human randomized control trials that demonstrate that intermittent fasting is a useful tool for controlling calories, and that you can do various forms of intermittent fasting, lose weight, and improve your metabolic health, but it is not superior to regular old calorie restriction. It is just a tool. But that's great. A lot of people love intermittent fasting. They find that it's easy to stick to, and they feel more satiated because they can have bigger meals because the feeding window is shorter. Totally reasonable reason to do it. Now, women shouldn't do it because it's going to mess up their hormones. I find this to be something that is used by a lot of predatory, especially predatory women who are looking to sell some kind of magic solution. And I don't know particularly what this gal is selling. But first off, let's take this idea that you're not eating in the morning, so it spikes your cortisol. Cortisol does increase in the morning because cortisol is part of a fuel mobilization response. Cortisol also goes up when you exercise. Does that mean we shouldn't exercise either? People get hung up on these acute responses of hormones, and hormones like cortisol, when they go up as a fuel mobilization response acutely, that is different than somebody who has chronically elevated levels of cortisol causing endocrine dysfunction. This idea that if you're fasting and in the morning you wake up and your cortisol goes up, this is gonna mess up all your female sex hormones. There's just not evidence to support that. Now, you may not like intermittent fasting, or you may feel like low energy on intermittent fasting in the morning. Okay, well then don't do it. It's not because of a small acute rise in cortisol. If we are going to use that logic, then you should not exercise, because exercise elevates cortisol. Because the purpose of cortisol, one of the purposes, is to make energy available to the body. And so that makes sense. When you wake up, you are mobilizing fuel. If you haven't eaten overnight and you're starting to get going, your body needs to mobilize fuel. That makes sense. There is a very big difference between an acute short-term rise in a hormone as a fuel mobilization response versus long-term low-level elevations in cortisol, either due to stress, obesity, or some sort of endocrine dysfunction. Those are very, very different, and they should be treated differently. As much time as you guys probably think I spend hating on intermittent fasting, if you're a woman, I still think intermittent fasting is a perfectly reasonable tool to control calories if you choose to use it. I don't think it's going to mess up your hormones. If you are losing weight really rapidly, if you are doing like crazy, multiple day fasts, well, I don't know about that because we don't really have data on that. But your normal kind of 16-8, 18-6, 24, sort of standard intermittent fasting, there's no evidence it's going to mess up your hormones. If you like doing it, and it helps you stick to a diet. Perfectly reasonable way to do things. Now, if you're not sure what to do with your nutrition, check out Team Biolayne Coaching to get coached the Biolayne way. Now, we don't force you into any one style of dieting. If you like low carb, you can do low carb. If you like low fat, you can do low fat. If you like to do intermittent fasting, we can work with you on intermittent fasting. We adapt the diet to your lifestyle and what works for you. If you're interested, you can click the link in the description and check out Team Biolayne Coaching to get coached the Biolayne way. Now, if you're interested in coaching, comment coaching and I will DM you information on how to get coached the Biolayne way.